Hey Alex, thanks for sending the video in all the way from Holstein, Germany. When I first watched this, since you're in slow motion, I thought you were going to roll over this thing, and then all of a sudden you road cap this whole thing. Super cool. So really nice flight arc in the air, really nice landing too. So you're looking good in a lot of ways, but we're going to take a look at kind of how you're getting to where you're getting and the ways in which we can change it, and maybe like why we want to change it a little bit. So as you're coming into the jump phase here, you're getting out of position, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But notice here what this is causing you to do as you move up into the air. It's causing you to pull yourself forward on the bicycle. You really see that they're pulling yourself forward as you move up into the air. So we see that here, again, coming back. From this position here, you're really moving and pulling yourself onto the bike. Really plain to see here. And what that's doing is it's putting you in a very linear position where you're stuck moving in a straight line. Your shoulders here are being used in a muscular way, which shouldn't really be happening when we're jumping. So you're pulling here from the arms, chest, and shoulders, maybe even the lats a little bit. So quite a bit of muscular energy going on there. And what that's going to do is it's going to disallow you to turn your arms and shoulders in the air. So essentially, if this had been a turning jump, like a hip jump or a jump that was landing into a turn, you might not have been able to control the bike properly. The other thing about this is that you're actually losing a little bit of energy on takeoff due to your position over the bicycle, and we're going to actually just kind of zoom in and take a look at that here. So if we look at this, I'll slow this down even a little bit more here. If we look at this here as you're moving in, what we're going to see is that your position is actually rather bent over. So here, if we look at your back, we can see here that you've got quite a bit of an angle. And what I'd rather see is that your angle is maybe something a little bit more like this, kind of down through your bottom bracket. So a little bit more standing over the bicycle, almost kind of in standing perpendicular to sea level, maybe just a little bit short of perpendicular to sea level. So somewhere in this zone in here would be where I'd want you to be standing in terms of your body alignment. And what this is causing is it's causing quite a bit of hip angulation here. So we see quite a bit of hip angulation there. So all that done together is then pulling your hips back so that when you move into the air, you get your arms extended. So here your arms extend, and now your arms get pretty tense, and you pull yourself back up onto the bike. So what I'd like you to do is to try to maintain a stance that's going to allow you to relax a little bit more in the upper body. And what that's going to require is a bit more upright stance on approach. So again, looking really good in general here, but just right in this zone, as you start to get close to the jump here, what I see is that you've actually started to shift back quite a bit at the hips, or to bend forward quite a bit at the shoulders. It's kind of hard to tell which came first. It's almost like you're getting prepared by shifting the shoulders forward there. And what this is essentially doing is it's taking weight off your feet. So this is removing some of the weight off your legs. And we want the weight to be directly over the bottom bracket here. And what we can see is that your body's ever so slightly behind the bottom bracket, particularly as you get toward the jump takeoff. So here you'll watch your hips slide back there. Okay, so now you're definitely not over the bottom bracket. And this is still a moment where the bicycle should still be compressing. So we want the rear wheel to compress all the way to the lip of the jump. So we want it to compress all the way to the lip of the jump here. And because your hips are starting to shift back a little bit here, that's keeping you from creating that really sound compression that we want down through the bike. Okay, so you're losing a little bit of compression here, and then you're also getting yourself back, and you're tensing the arms just a little bit as you're moving off the edge of the jump here. So we can see that here, arms tense, and you pull yourself back up. So had you just started in a little bit more neutral standing posture, you'd be able to keep the arms, chest, and shoulders relaxed, which is going to allow you to start to create shoulder movement in the air, which is going to then allow you to start to make counter-directional steering into turns, to hit hip jumps, maybe even to start scrubbing and whipping off jumps and things like that, so you won't be forced to have to hit them in this perfectly perpendicular kind of plane that you're currently moving in. But again, really good job. Really impressive size gap, man. Super going for it. You'll be able to hit this thing a little more slowly probably when you stand a little bit more upright in the torso and a little more over the legs, and just try to relax the upper body as much as you can. All of this should be happening in terms of the muscular energy in your body. All of this should be happening from the navel down. So from your waistline, from like your belt, just above your belt down, the body should be working, but above that, the upper body should be super, super relaxed, and you're just a little too far back to let that happen. And some of this can come from a habit, and some of this can just come from the size of terrain. When we hit terrain that's big for us, we tend to maybe shoot backward or become a little bit defensive for good reason. It can be scary. I'm not saying that's the case with you. You might be hitting this stuff all day long, but that is a really, really big gap. But you will find that as you start to relax and you start to bring your posture a little bit more upright, the gap is actually going to get easier and smoother, and you'll be able to start playing around with the bike in the air. Hope this helps you, man.